In this episode of the course, we will learn and work with variables. Let's get right into it. So first, what even is a variable? I want you to think of a variable as a labeled box, a box with a name. And we can put something inside of that box. C# has a lot of variable types, but for this episode we will only cover these three right there: int, double, and string. I want you to think of an int as the type of the box. You can think of it as the material, what the box is made out of. Logic goes like this. The box of type int only accepts whole numbers, such as 8, such as 5, but no 2.5 or anything decimal. The box of type double solves exactly the problem of the box type int. It can hold decimal numbers, such as 2.5. So a common question some of you may have is that if double can achieve exactly what int can, then why even bother using int and not just always use double? Well, I have a clever solution for you. Double is more expensive than an int. And if you want your program to be at maximum efficiency, it's important to distinguish between these two types. Now, the final variable type we will go over in this video is string, and I want you to think of a string as a text. No, not think of it. This is really what string is. It's just a piece of text. A piece of text that we put in quotation marks. For example, we can have the text hello quick code inside of the quotation marks, and the string will now hold it. I want you to think of a string as a box that only holds characters or words inside of it. Now let's get to coding. This is how you declare these three types of variables inside of C#. First, you want to reference the type of the int. In our analogy, it's the type of the box. For example, int. Then you want to give a name for your box, such as num1, which stands for number 1, an ordinary name. And then you want to assign a value to it. In this case, because it's an int, it has to be a whole number. And then C# has a special syntax. At the end of each line, you always need to write this semicolon. This semicolon is extremely important. It needs to be at the end of each line, and it tells C#, hey, I'm done with this line, you can continue to the next one. Okay, so for example, let's take a look how you instantiate the variable double. We write the type, which is double, then the name, let's call it number 2, and we assign the value 4.5. Same with string. Type, string, name, let's call it text, and then in quotation marks we write the value, such as hello quick code. Now text always has to be in quotation marks. This is what defines text. Now that we know how to use these three variable types, we can go on the VS Code C# project and start scripting a little bit. So for example, if you want to store some data about a person, we could write their age, for example. So we will write the type int, the name we will call it age, and we will set it, for example, as 25. For example, we can also store the person weight. Now, should the weight be an integer or a double? A double, right? Because weight can be decimal. So we will write double weight, and let's assign it as 90.5, for example. Now, this is nice and all, but what we can do with those two variables? One thing that we can do is log them into the console. And I will explain shortly what I mean. Give me a second here. And now when we will run the program, so by opening the project in the terminal and writing .NET run, we will get exactly what we were expecting, 25 and 90.5. So what does console.writeLine do? Well, it allows us to communicate with the user running the application. More straightforward, it directly allows us to write stuff in the console. This is the console, such as this 25 or 90.5. Now in the next episodes we will cover more variable types and arithmetic operators, but for now we can, for example, write in the console age plus weight, and as you can all expect, it will give us 115.5. So this is the basics of variable types. In the next episode we will continue expanding upon them. Thanks for watching.